Welcome to Rotary and Serving Our Community. My name is Wade Nomura, and today we're going to take a look at something unique that Rotary does. We change our leadership once every year. On July 1st, brand new people will be coming in. There will be about 35,000 presidents from each of the clubs. And in order to make that happen and successful, we have what's called a District Training Assembly. And with us today, we have people that are key players of this event. We have Marilyn Lippiatt, Marilyn, and also Tony Huff. Thank you, Tony. Marilyn, let's start with you. Give us a little bit of background on you, personal.
I'm a native Southern Californian, born and raised in the Los Angeles area. Grew up in the San Fernando Valley, went to school and college at UCLA, and became a lifelong educator. I've been with public schools my whole career and then consulted afterwards.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Tony, how about you?
Born and raised in Pennsylvania, moved to the West Coast in 1978. Lived down in Irvine. I've lived in Oxnard now since 1987. I joined Rotary in 1995. I've been a member of 3 clubs. Presently a member of Oxnard Sunrise, and I've held numerous Rotary jobs, not going through the list of them, but you name it, I've done it.
Right.
And I've been involved, of course, with the Pearls program and involved with assemblies for the last 5 or 6 years at least.
Okay. And what got you involved with Rotary? How did that come about?
A friend recruited me, a friend I was working with, said, why don't you come and join me for breakfast? And I'd like you to meet some friends. I'd like you to see what Rotary is all about. So I went. I had heard of Rotary. I knew it was a service organization. I had no idea what Rotary does. You know, the depth of our commitment to the foundation, what we contribute, how we train people. It's just been an eye-opener for me. I continually see new things every day, practically.
True. It's very true. How about you, Marilyn?
What got me involved was an invitation. I was at a breakfast and somebody came up and said, "Are you a member of Rotary?" And I went, "No." And they said, "You need to come." It got me involved. I was impressed with both the quality of the people and what was going on. What kept me in Rotary were the friendships and the projects and the fellowship and the endeavor to give back. I left for about 10 years. My job took me away from the area. And when I came back, I met another friend from the same club that said, "Are you coming back?" And I went, "Yes." And I've been back ever since.
Well, that's great. So that's Westlake Village Sunrise, correct?
Westlake Village Sunrise.
Great. We can give them props.
Absolutely. They deserve it.
And they definitely do. They do a lot of good things. So, Marilyn, we'll start with you. What got you involved with the training aspect of it, district leadership training part of it?
Like all things, another friend said, "Would you do this?" So this coming year's district governor, Nick Frankel, had met me as a member of our Westlake Sunrise Club, asked me if I would do something with training and education. That's my lifelong background, so it seemed like a natural fit. And from that, just got more involved. I had no experience at the district level. I didn't know what all of these things were because that was not my role. And the more I got into it, the more excited I got about creating an atmosphere of learning for these adults who want to volunteer but have very little time, full-time jobs, other kinds of things going on. So how do you make the learning process meaningful for them?
Right. Good points. Tony, how about you?
Question?
The question was getting involved with the district training assemblies. Was it something you liked or something that you got volunteered for?
Very similar to Marilyn. Somebody asked me, okay, would you like to be involved in the assembly? And the first year I was actually chairman of the assembly, and I've been chairman a couple times since, or one time since. And it's a means to meet your fellow Rotarian. It's a means to see that we are contributing to their training. We have the reputation of being the best trained district in Rotary, and I think we are. And the assembly is certainly a major part of that. We have, many classes, et cetera, that train our leadership. So overall, it's a good thing.
Definitely so. Now, the district training assemblies are actually endorsed and required by Rotary International. So part of the curriculum It's supposed to come from Rotary, but now, do you know if, in fact, if we take pages out of the Rotary documents, international documents, and create those into the classes, or is it something that we leave to the instructors to do?
Primarily, we leave it to the instructors. I know most of the material has been generated over the years by the instructors and the experts in the field in our district. If they're using anything that comes from Rotary International, I'm not aware of it.
Okay, okay. And how about the class selection? Marilyn, are you involved with that? Which classes are being offered?
Just to fill in what Tony said.
Sure.
Because I was unfamiliar with all of this, I pulled the whole document from Rotary International to look through and said how to plan a useful and productive district assembly. And I sent the pages relevant to those avenues of service that we're presenting to say, here are some guidelines. But in that, all documents sort of have a date, specific time for them. Some of the information that people needed is now new and more relevant and presented in a different way. So we allowed them to kind of mix and match what was required as well as what would be useful to people.
Sure. And I guess each district also would have its own kind of personality too, and traits.
There were requests, based on some of the trainings during the year, there were things that people wanted to know more about.
Good.
And the District Training Assemblies seemed like the perfect opportunity to involve more people and give them things that were more relevant, such things as how to run a meeting,
Okay.
the public relations and the public image, which is fairly new, the resources, which people didn't have a lot of information about and said, where do I find them, how do I access them, and what's in it for me?
Got it.
So we tried to present all of that so they walked away with something that they could use that they didn't know when they walked in the door.
Got it. Now, this occurs roughly 3-4 months before the actual start of the Rotary Year. Do you feel that's enough time to get everybody prepared, or is it something that should start a little bit sooner than that?
Being an educator, I would like it to run all year long, but people aren't as prepared to learn things. It's more of a need to know. And the closer it gets, the greater the need.
Got it.
But we do run a training program for incoming presidents that runs all year in a variety of settings so that they come in prepared. If we could get others in there also, I think it would be helpful to them. And one of the greatest benefits that they have is building those resource networks for themselves, finding out where they can find what they need to know, when they need to know it.
Got it. Actually, the president's training starts the year before that. It's actually, as a nominee, you get to start the training process
Right.
of that. And I believe the Assemblies actually has a nominee training also
Yes.
in conjunction with it. What would you say is the most popular of all the classes? I know presidents have to go, so we got a lot of presidents there. But those that volunteer,
The president-elect class is always very popular because
they have to.
the need to know is very imminent.
Yeah.
They're there. The other classes seem pretty balanced by who attends. One popular one this year was how to run a board meeting. That was very well received. I don't know whether it had been done recently in the past, but people asked for it. It was a very well-attended session, and people said they learned a great deal that they didn't even know about running board meetings.
That's very good. Tony, how about you? Trends, I would say, that have occurred from the time you've done to now. Has there been a change as far as the popularity of specific classes?
It's about the same,
About the same.
okay, I think. Technically, the assemblies, at least what I always thought was the purpose, was to train not only the 3 classes of presidents, of course, but to train the incoming board members
Right.
that are coming in as of July 1st. So it's important that they attend, it's important that they get to know how to be a secretary, how to be a treasurer, how to be a whatever. And that's always been the purpose as far as I'm concerned. And other Rotarians who perhaps have got a lot of longevity in pearls, or in assemblies, can attend any class they want. Foundation is a very popular class, as I remember. Grant writing is a thing we have to learn, so that's a popular class also. Just overall training for our presidents and our board members. And in general, just Rotarian members.
Got it. And
Members of-
I've seen one trend that Rotary's kind of been focusing in or pushing on, and that is the secretary's role and responsibility. Before, it was all paperwork. Now that it's coming to the new age of everything being online, a lot of the reports are being done that way too. So have you seen a change in that as far as more people coming?
Yes, I think we have seen more people coming. Frankly, I've never attended the secretary's class, so perhaps I should next year.
A lot of the reports now are all done online.
It's
so
all
that is-
electronic
yeah,
or
which is
email or whatever, yes.
Fascinating, right, right. And Marilyn, what was the one class that you had to take a look at and say that was one that you had to evaluate and get more comfortable with? Was there any specific class you saw?
Well, the year before, I went to the district assembly because I was the incoming secretary to our club. So I did go to the secretary session
Okay.
and found it enlightening, just all of the information and the role that a secretary can play. Well, this year, in looking at the classes, that was kind of the role that we put out for everybody. What would this mean to your club? One of the classes that was very popular was community service, because community service is morphing and changing as we go along. And the people that were there had an idea exchange where they walked away with ideas from big clubs, small clubs, medium-sized clubs that just informed more what they were going to do, things that they had never thought of, because it had not been quite as open a forum as it was.
Right, right. Now, what is the total attendance? I probably should have asked that before, but
We did 2 district training assemblies in District 5240. The Oxnard one had over 300 in attendance, and the one in Bakersfield had over 150 in attendance.
wow, that's very good attendance.
And one of the things that happened this year is we encouraged clubs to invite new members to their club who didn't have a role to play on the board, but just to learn more about it. And they came and were very enthused. They kind of picked sessions, went around, and walked away with some really good ideas.
That's great. Now, it's actually only basically a half-day session, correct?
Correct.
The assemblies are run as a half-day. Do you feel that's enough time, or was that something that was dictated as far as keeping them involved or engaged?
There's the dilemma between how long is long enough and how much time can people devote on a Saturday, given a volunteer organization and given that people have families and work and other things. So a half a day filled with about 3 hours or 3.5 hours worth of material seemed to be the right balance for this year. My estimation is it could always be longer, but I'd rather do more shorter sessions than one longer session.
Makes sense. So possibly having more electives in the afternoon, something like that would be
Electives in the
a
afternoon
possible
or
option?
run at one other time.
Or one at a time, okay. And as far as the locations, one being in Oxnard and the other one being in Bakersfield, do you feel that covers enough for the geography, for convenience for the members of the district? Because we go pretty far, we go out to San Luis.
It's always difficult, those people that aren't in one of those 2 locations still have to travel about 2 hours to reach either one of those. So I'm not sure what the right balance is. That seems to be fairly traditional, but I don't have a good answer for what would be better. 3 would be better, but 3 is hard to run.
That would be hard to run. Tony, for you, have you noticed the attendance as far as clubs? Is it close to 100%? Is it usually just about every club attends one of the assemblies? Or-
Just about every club, yes.
Okay.
I have not paid attention to exactly if it is 100%, but it's pretty close.
Good.
Yeah, they usually, everybody sends at least a member or 2,
Mm-hmm.
and their job, of course, is to communicate that back to the club as to what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's about.
Let's go into one of the classes, Tony. Tell us how a class is actually run, because they're roughly 45 minutes, 50-minute classes?
Right.
Each one of
About
those?
that.
So if you start with a class, tell us how that's usually run and operated. What do they do?
It's usually run by somebody who's an expert in that area. For instance, the district treasurer will conduct the treasurer's class normally. The district secretary will conduct part of, if not all, the district secretary or the secretary's class. It's usually a slide presentation, and then it's usually question and answers, and often they will invite somebody who's an expert in some other field or that to come in and give a kind of a side talk. For instance, grant writing has always been a good subject for people to come in and talk about. et cetera. So it's a typical class. The agenda is not usually reviewed before, but is reviewed after. So if anybody kind of goes off the agenda that we don't particularly want them to, we'll tell them. But I think this last year, I didn't hear anything negative about the agendas. I thought they were all pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard also.
Yeah.
Marilyn, how about you? Input as far as the changes, 'cause I know you've been involved with education for quite some time.
What we learned early on, and we did the President-elect retreat, had some comments from some newer members, younger members that are on the track to be president this year. And they said, don't kill us with the PowerPoints. They called it death by PowerPoint. And we had evolved into a state where people became very comfortable using their PowerPoint presentation as pretty much their entire presentation and talking through that. And what people wanted was more conversation. They wanted more chance to ask questions, to dialogue with somebody, to pose a problem, to get some suggestions. And so in the communications that I had with all of the facilitators was less PowerPoint, more facilitation of conversations, more questions to people, find out what they know, find out what they need to know. And the reviews we got were tremendously positive because of that. They said we learned things from other people. We had a chance to talk about a problem and get some ideas on maybe how to solve it. We got new things that we could do that we hadn't been doing. And so the experts were there as a resource, not as much as the sage. They were more the guide to lead people along the way to learn what they needed and then to be a resource afterwards for them.
Got it. So more interaction basically is what it becomes. You get
More interaction and
of everybody, 100%.
more engagement from the audience.
Good, very
They
good.
they were put upon to participate and to do something and to come with ideas and to walk away with something.
Very nice. Now, with that, one challenge of facilitated exercise is to make sure that you have a lesson plan in the background, that everything gets transferred down, even though it's all, I would say, facilitated. Do you have a master plan for that for each of the classes?
Not a master plan, but more suggestions. These are experts in their field. They know a great deal. They have a lot of experience. So we suggested that they start with a description of what the job is,
Okay.
what the presentation was all about, to do some teaching, and then to do some things and to check for understanding. We asked each of them to submit beforehand something that I call outcomes. Outcomes didn't resonate with a lot of people, so we called it takeaways.
Okay.
What would the participants walk away with after the presentation? And it wasn't just what the presenter presented, it's what are they going to get out of it? And it sort of shifted a little bit into, I need to focus on the learner, not the presenter.
Got it. That's a good point, and that's exactly how you do it. A lot of times, I've seen facilitators come in with a lesson plan specific, that they make sure each of those points are hit. I'm assuming that you would have the same setup, situation like that. Very good. Tony,
Exactly.
yeah, I'm going to ask you a few questions here now. On the assemblies, as you get people coming in, if they don't know which class, do you guide them into which class they would want to take, should take, or try to fit them?
If somebody comes in and they don't know what class they honestly don't know for sure why they're there, and they don't know what class to do, we show them, here's a list of classes. We would suggest perhaps you might want to take this class, especially if you're a new Rotarian, et cetera. We kind of try and point them in the right direction. Because some people walk in and they've just been told that they should go and nobody told them what the real purpose was, which is a shame,
Yeah.
but that happens.
Okay, good. You got a list of classes there, so how many classes do we actually have at the average assembly? Or if you want, you can just read those off and see what we've got there that they offer.
The three president's classes,
Okay,
secretary, treasurer, community service, club service, vocational service, these are all avenues of service which are board positions. International service, foundation of course, public image and club runner. That's kind of a newer subject. Club runner isn't. We've been using club runner for quite some time.
it's a website, right?
Yeah, it's a web, yeah,
Program.
right, exactly. Membership, club foundations, which is different than foundation. Global grants, what Marilyn alluded to, how to run a board meeting, is a real good one. Of course, we cover that in Pearls also. How to use awards, how to improve your newsletter, using social media effectively, and last but certainly not least, pearls.
Okay, great. So I would say about 50% of those actually are based on board positions that at the club
Yes,
level.
right.
And then the other ones are of interest or places where somebody could get more education on.
Yeah.
The,
Especially for newer Rotarians.
Yeah, for the newer Rotarians. Websites, how effective are those that you've seen as far as teaching the classes and seeing those actually implemented by the clubs? Have you noticed any changes, the takeaways?
Sometimes it's a mystery. People don't know how to use them at all, don't know how to get to them, and I don't know how many times we've tried to train them. It's not hard, you know. Yes, maybe you have to search around to find certain information, but it's not hard. And some people are very, very good at it, and some people just aren't. So,
Got it.
now our Pearl's website is kind of a mystery.
I would say yes.
Not even kind of.
Definitely is a mystery.
One of the new outcomes that sort of emanated from the groups was more how to use social media. And from some of the groups, right within the class, they formed a Facebook page that was a group page so that people within that group could continue to communicate with each other and could post things and could get ideas and could ask questions and do that. So social media is kind of rising up as a new form of information.
True.
And more clubs have their own Facebook page and communicate that way with their public.
So tell us the benefits of Facebook and social media that you've seen as far as how it benefits Rotary.
People are using that instead of newsletters. They're communicating on that, posting events, spreading that to the broader community. So people use that. They get more followers. They get more people engaged. They post changes. They have Facebook pages for all of their events so that becomes a communication device in itself. And I think it's really helping to get Rotary's name out there and the individual club's name out in the public image to keep improving that. Websites are popular, not as popular, but almost everybody has a Facebook page or some form of communication that way, and it just becomes one. We have people at our own meeting post things that happen at the meeting during the meeting on the club's Facebook page, so it's out there right away.
Right. And it goes well beyond the geographical area. Facebook
It
goes
does.
international like instantly. So that is one thing I've seen as a huge benefit.
It is the wave of the future.
It really
Well,
is.
maybe the wave of the present,
Yes,
not the future.
maybe something more.
Yeah, right.
Now, the curriculum, Marilyn, are you considering adding a few more classes? Do you think we had enough, too many, some need to be switched out?
We had this year about 15 different classes, and I think we need to be responsive. I think there's some that will be standard that will go on year after year, and those are the board positions and the leadership avenues of service. But I think some of the other ones we will need to respond to what the need to know is, what's coming up that people want to learn something about, that's both Rotary, but it's both timely with all of that. So we need to be flexible. We'll do some surveys and kind of get information from people about what they want and how that would be good training for them.
Now, for you as a district trainer, it's a 3-year position. I know you worked well and you were recruited by Nick. As we go into the next phase with the next governor following him, John, have you seen any changes in priorities as far as what the education component should be or include?
I think what's changing already is the fact that we need to pay attention to the attendees. It isn't a set curriculum any longer. It isn't presenting what we've always done in the past. It's presenting something that people, one, get something out of that's relevant for them in a way that they can get the material. And so lecturing doesn't work any longer. We know that in education. Mm-hmm. As adults, we've been trained that way, so it's hard for us to change. So it's changing the ways that we do things to fit the model of learning that's out there now.
Got it. That does make a lot of sense. Your, I would say, ideal numbers. Right now, we've approached 600 a number of times in history for the assemblies. Do you see that expanding, maybe going larger than that with the right kind of curriculum and promoting? Or do you need to?
I think it could go larger. I think the support, the travel time, the locations sort of impedes that. Having it on a Saturday sometimes impedes that, but there's no one right model that's there. So using media as maybe a facilitator, maybe not all doing it on an on-site location, doing it through other means, may be a better way.
Web-based or something like that? Or?
Web-based videos,
okay.
you know, on, you know, technology, just the way we're doing these, might be a better way to reach people and have them get the material.
Oh, great, great. Tony, how about you? Have you seen trends that have affected the attendance, increased them, decreased them over the last 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, I think we as Rotarians tend to sit back and just say, okay, we've done it this way for so long, it's always been popular, and for Marilyn's point, not paid attention to what the participants are telling us. I think we need to do that. We need to pay attention to change the curriculum to what they want to see or hear, and to go more web-based in the future. One nice thing about Rotary, I've always felt, is the interaction between Rotarians and what you learn from the people that are in attendance, which you miss, I believe, in some web-based stuff. The interaction and meeting somebody and getting a new idea comes from the discussion in the classes or in the general meetings you have before and or after the
Got it.
assembly. So it's kind of a mixed bag, is what I'm trying to
True.
say.
In the past, it's been the promotion has actually fallen on the shoulders of the governors and governor-elects. Do you still see that as influencing the number of the counts, or is it something that the district is picking up now?
I think it's directly reflective of how the district governors push it.
The leadership.
Oh, not push it, but
Promote it.
advertise it.
Promote it.
Let's try to promote.
Support it.
Advertise it, promote it, and
Okay.
you can't make it a chore. You want people to want to go, not people to think they're forced to go. So
Very true.
that's a toughie.
That is a tough one, especially since you have, with the Rotarians being involved, as you say, a lot of them have done it for a long time, and they don't see the need for change, even though there is time for change.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that is one of the difficult parts that we find in Rotary. The district assemblies, both of you, are you planning on being involved again next year? Is it something that's going to be?
I personally, number one, I will be involved because of Pearls, and I'm willing to help Marilyn and whoever else is running it. Absolutely, of course, I'll be involved.
Great.
I'm depending upon you.
Well, both of you, thank you very much for what you do for Rotary. I know leadership is essential for this, and look forward to working with you again next year. With that, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you learned a little bit about the assemblies. Rotary just doesn't happen by itself. There's a lot of timing, training, and preparing of the next leadership group that's coming in. Each year we change it. And with that, thank you very much, and we will see you next time. There you go. Good job there, everybody. Did you get to cover everything?
I think so.
Yeah.